With the NFL draft right around the corner, I want to continue on running through mock draft simulations of all NFL teams. Today we'll be covering the Panthers. Before we get into the mock draft, let's take a look at the Panthers depth chart and really get a gauge of who we're going to want to target in this upcoming draft. So offensively, I can immediately see holes here at the quarterback position. There's been a lot of question marks around Sam Darnold. Will Baker Mayfield get traded? Whatever it is, at this moment in time, the quarterback position is going to have to be addressed at some point in the draft this year, whether it be bringing a guy in later on in the draft or maybe using the 6th overall pick. We got to see what happens to how the board falls, but the quarterback position needs to be addressed. We need to bring some more competition into the room. On top of that, the next glaring hole I see is the offensive line here. Austin Corbett, Bradley Bozeman were nice additions to the offensive line, but Cameron Irving and Pat Elflein are not going to be ideal starters on the left side of the line. So this is going to be another area, especially left tackle. We need to find the left tackle of the future in this draft class because Cameron Irving's just not going to cut it. Besides that, the rest of the offense is pretty loaded. Christian McCaffrey, the wide receiver room, all got a lot of weapons in there. We really just need to find the complementary pieces at left tackle and a quarterback of the future here. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, the D-line is not bad. It's probably the strength of the defense right along with the secondary here. Brian Burns is a really nice pass rusher. The D-line with Matt Ioannidis is a nice addition. Yetur Gross-Matos is another really solid young defensive end that's developing. But where I really see the weakness of this team is going to be the linebacking core. Shaq Thompson is a solid player, but besides that, Damian Wilson and Corey Littleton are just not going to cut it. Damian Wilson just got arrested with assault charges, I believe, so he might not even be ready come week 1. So we got to address the middle linebacker position, find a true Mike linebacker to command this defense in this draft. But like I said, besides that, the secondary is pretty loaded. Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson. It's a really good group of guys. Jeremy Chin and Xavier Woods are two solid safeties. So really what I'm kind of going to get a look at here, I think we're going to go quarterback, offensive line, linebacker are the top 3 priorities in this draft. So without further ado, let's kick this draft off here. We're going to be picking 6th overall, so we're going to have a lot of options. We could go quarterback, go offensive line. Really depends how the board falls here, and I don't think a quarterback went in the top 5, so we got our pickings of any quarterback here. So I know there's a lot of guys like Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett are getting talked about here, but I'm seeing who I think is the number 1 tackle in this draft left on the board, and that's Charles Cross here. He's available. I think without a doubt, it'd be doing a disservice to a rookie quarterback if we don't solidify the offensive line before we draft one. So we're going to take Charles Cross here, the best pass blocking tackle in the class. He's got phenomenal feet. He's able to mirror any defender, and he's going to be the left tackle of the future for this franchise. So moving on, we really don't got a lot of picks here. We're going to have to wait all the way till the 4th round to pick again. So like I said, this is going to be a little bit difficult because we're going to lose our shot at any of the rookie QBs. Maybe in this scenario, we could make a trade for Baker Mayfield. But if we have to build around Sam Darnold, I'll take that as long as we can solidify this offensive line. So here we are back at pick 137 here. And we're immediately, let's go take a look at what quarterbacks are left. Maybe a guy like Carson Strong. Bailey Zappi has fallen to us here. That's definitely a name I'm going to keep an eye on. Let's make sure we're not missing out on anybody else here. Logan Bruce wouldn't be a bad pickup here. I've picked him in previous mock drafts. Really like him bumping inside. He could probably play left guard and compete with Pat Elflein week 1. Pierre Strong would be a really nice weapon on the offense, but with the idea of drafting Charles Cross, we're not really going to be looking to be a running offense. We're going to be looking to be a drop back, pass heavy. I mean, we have the weapons to do it with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall, and the signing of Rashard Higgins. So I think it's definitely going to be, I see a few guys. JT Woods is a guy that we can bring in, develop him at free safety. See a couple guys, but we neglected the quarterback position early on in the draft, so I think we're going to have to address it right now. I think if Bailey Zappi falls to us in the 4th round at the back end here at pick 32 in the 4th, I think this will be a really nice addition. Has some mechanical concerns, arm strength, his throwing motion, his release is kind of slow, and mechanically he's a little bit clunky, and he's not gifted and the physicality or the physical tools of being a quarterback, but his instincts as a passer, his ability to read defenses, sometimes he gets caught up, makes some silly decisions, but he's definitely a nice developmental piece, was extremely productive in college, ran the RPO system extremely well with Western Kentucky. So bringing him into the quarterback room, I think he bolsters the room a little bit, can maybe even compete later on in the second half of the year. The real question is, will his arm strength be enough to carry him at the NFL level? So he's really going to be a boom or bust prospect. So moving on, we got our quarterback here with Bailey Zappi. I know people either love him or people hate him, but it's just what we're going to have to work with here. So moving on to the 5th round, we're going to be looking at offensive line probably. I mean, we could also go secondary here with JT Woods. We really got a lot of the same guys left on the board we were looking at earlier. I think in this market here, I think we're going to go with Logan Bruce. I think we can bump him inside. He could compete day one at left guard with Pat Elflein. Like I said, I really want to shore up this offensive line. I think that was the biggest issue and the biggest hole of the team last year. So moving on here, we got another pick here in the 5th round. And like I said, another big hole we have yet to address is that middle linebacker position. Damian Wilson is not going to be available week 1 due to his arrest. So we're immediately going to have to jump over here. Just looking at linebackers, I mean, there's not a whole lot left that you would want to start day one. A guy that's jumping off the screen to me right here is Jack Sanborn from Wisconsin. True Mike linebacker. Isn't really elite and a twitch athlete and the coverage ability, but he's able to play in the center of that defense. He'll be able to stop the run in between the box. Not super athletically gifted, but he will be a plug-in day one starter. He's not going to be great. He's not going to be phenomenal. He'll just get the job done as a nitty-gritty, old-school middle linebacker and be able to be a physicality in the box. So moving on here, we only got 2 picks left. This draft is going by very fast. Mainly, like I said, we didn't really have a lot of picks to do with. And who knows, come draft day, we might not even have some of these picks due to maybe a trade for Baker Mayfield. So as we move on here, we've addressed a lot of the major needs on the team. We got a Mike linebacker. We really bolstered the offensive line. We got a quarterback, whether you love him or hate him. We did bring a quarterback to compete in that room. Let's see here. Probably not going to double dip on quarterbacks, but a guy like Jack Cohn would definitely be interesting to take a swing on here in the 6th round. Brock Purdy's a guy that some people really love, not a huge fan of. If we move here to the wide receiver area, I mean, we could add another weapon in the room, but I don't think it's a dire need. I think, honestly, we couldn't get enough offensive linemen, especially inside. A guy like Doug Kramer could be pretty interesting here. Some of these names are falling a little bit unrealistic here with how far they're falling. But a guy like Brian Robinson is not going to fall to the 6. Joshua, he's not going to fall to the 6th round. So I'm not going to just swing at these guys. Got a lot of options we could work here. Davis from UCF would be a really nice developmental D tackle. He definitely would not be able to start day one. He'd be a 3 tech. He offers some rushing capabilities inside, but it's not like a huge glaring need yet. Cordell Volson would be very interesting from North Dakota State. Offers a lot of ability as a run blocker. But is he really going to be a need? I don't think so. We drafted Charles Cross. Taylor Moton is not a bad right tackle. I mean, we got our tackle secured. I don't really like the idea of bumping Cordell inside. Mekhi Polk from Mississippi State would just add another weapon. This is definitely an interesting area of the draft with where we've fallen here. I mean, we go take a look at the safeties. I can't imagine JT Woods would fall all the way to the 6 yet. No. I don't hate Xavier Woods at free safety. Could get younger there, but not a huge need. I kind of want to dip here in the Brian Robinson pool. I understand we drafted Chuba Hubbard, but Brian Robinson would be bringing in a physicality and a bruiser running back mentality to the room, and especially with Christian McCaffrey's injury history. You definitely want to shore up that room with another running back possibly. Which I think that might be the route. Now, we're going to go Davis from UCF, a true 3-tech defensive tackle. He'll be a developmental guy. He has some conditioning concerns in the second half of games, but you bring him in, you get him on the right nutrition and conditioning plan, you get him on the right weight room program, add some physicality, add some technique to have him be able to split double teams and hold on through any power run blocking. I think he'll be a really nice developmental piece in that interior of the defensive line. So here we go, 7th round here, final pick of the draft. I mean, some of these offensive linemen should not be falling all the way to the 7th, but they are, so what can you do? And I mean, that's how PFF likes to work sometimes. Looking here, I mean, we could address the offensive line again, but going 3 offensive linemen here with our limited picks would not be something that's super ideal in my opinion. We address the defensive line. I mean, there's a lot of value here on the interior of the offensive line here to take swings at guys. Let's go back here to the linebacker position. This room is pretty thin, so wouldn't mind double dipping here. I was looking for Penei Sewell's brother from Utah. He would have been a really nice addition, but he's not here. I mean, there's some guys. Just don't really like the value. I think a lot of these guys are priority undrafted free agents rather than spending draft picks on. I'm thinking Brian Robinson, if he falls this far, I mean, they have him listed at Valparaiso. He's obviously the Alabama running back. I don't know why they mixed up the schools here, but if Brian Robinson falls to the 7th somehow, I think you have to pull the trigger. Don't think it's really realistic that he'll be here at the 7th. I mean, he's 24 years old, so maybe people will knock him for his age, but let's see. Let's just double check we're not missing anybody. We like to keep it as realistic as possible, but I mean, with the age and the way the running backs are going and the trend that's going for running backs, I could see him falling. I mean, I believe he's 24 years old. Whatever will tell us his age here. This is not the right Brian Robinson. No, the description says it. Yeah, there's no way he's going to fall to the 7th. I think this is just an issue with PFF, so we'll just not do that. We'll just try to keep it realistic here. They have him listed at 5'5". That's funny. 7th round, what are we going to do? I think we might have to go with... we're going to actually be pretty controversial here. We're going to double dip. With the little little picks we have, we're going to double dip in the quarterback room. And then we're going to go with Jack Cohn. Skylar Thompson's also interesting from K-State. He has a running ability to the room that would be pretty interesting to see. Brock Purdy would be an interesting guy. I think we're going to go with Jack Cohn. I'm a big fan of him. Developmental quarterback. Really just kind of double dip here. See if we can hit on one of these late round QBs. I don't think we will. I think at best we'll get a couple backup QBs. But the room needs competition. Someone's got to push Sam Darnold here. And if the Baker Mayfield trade doesn't go through, I think a guy like Bailey Zappe's a smart guy that would fit pretty well in the offense if he needs to step in. So overall, let's just take a look at the draft here. Charles Cross with the 6th overall pick. I mean, you're drafting for the future here. This is the future left tackle. I mean, he's going to come in day one. He's going to be an average left tackle. He has the upside of being a Hall of Fame left tackle, but you're going to get a good to solid left tackle here. He's going to be able to mirror any edge rusher. He's going to solidify the left edge. He's not going to allow a lot of pressure. He's not going to allow a lot of sacks. Really, the only downside I see here is his run blocking ability is not ideal, but he's athletic enough to run that wide zone, cut off backside 3 techs, climb to second level linebackers, but he's not going to be a power run game guy kind of guy. He's not going to be mulling over defensive tackles, defensive ends, but that's not why we're drafting here. We're drafting for the idea that we're going to spread out defenses and we're going to throw the ball 30 times a game. So Charles Cross, left tackle of the future, not going to allow whoever the next young quarterback is to get hit. Bailey Zappe, drafting for pure need here. He's going to come in and compete with Sam Darnold. I think week 1, really the biggest questions are going to be his arm strength and his release. Are his physicality tools going to be enough to carry him at the next level? I don't know. It looked kind of scary at the Senior Bowl. His arm just died out on some deep balls, but he can come in, and if you want him to be a game managing quarterback, it's an RPO style quarterback throwing a lot of bubbles. I mean, he's smart. He knows where to attack in open zones. He's a very smart and gifted quarterback in the fact that his football IQ is extremely high. He's able to run quick mesh points to get RPOs out on time. It's all going to come down to his physical tools. Will it be able to translate to the NFL, and will it be enough to help him carry and be an NFL quarterback? Moving on, Logan Bruce. I've drafted him in previous mock drafts. I'm very high on him. I think he is one of the best late-round offensive linemen this year. He'll easily bump in at left guard and compete with Pat Elflein to be a starter. He could honestly start week 1 at left guard, and we could put Pat Elflein as the backup behind Bradley Bozeman at center. I think that'll be very ideal. Jack Sanborn here, graded out an F. Don't really know why. Maybe it's a little bit of a reach. I'm a big fan of his ability to play Mike linebacker. Does he have all the upside in the world? No. Athletically, he's not that gifted. But you're going to get a Mike linebacker that can stop the run, command the defense, and be a leader for the defense. Davis, he's going to be a developmental piece at 3 tech here. We're just kind of addressing some depth here on the defensive line. He's probably not going to see much playing time year 1, but he's going to be able to, if we can develop him, get him on a proper conditioning program, he has the tools to be a gifted 3 tech later on down the road. Jack Cohn, we're just once again going to try to address this QB room. We didn't take one with the 6th overall pick, so we're going to address it and double dip here later on, bring in 2 young quarterbacks to compete for that backup job, maybe even push Sam Darnold for the starting job. But overall, I don't think it was that bad of a draft. I think we really addressed a lot of the needs here. I think we could have probably double dipped at linebacker over quarterback here, but because we didn't address getting a guy like Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis at 6, I wanted to double dip and see if we can get a late round and swing on one of these late round guys. Overall, though, let me know your guys' thoughts on the draft. think we did a pretty solid job here. We addressed the offensive line extremely well. We filled a lot of the major holes, but let me know your guys' thoughts. Would you be happy with this if you were a Panthers fan? Would you be upset? Were you hoping for Kenny Pickett at 6th overall? Let me know your thoughts down below. I love hearing from you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.